Hello, fellow fan horse. This is Dervla from Dublin, Ireland. I'm a part of the Patreon fan whore community because I think that all artists deserve to be paid for their work, and I think Patreon's a really handy way to be able to contribute according to the level that you can afford. But the great thing about joining Billy's community is that you get to be part of the Champagne Room Facebook group, which is a really fun way to read about everyone's sexcapades. I really recommend it. And it's just a really fun online virtual community of sex positive people all over the world. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I think that you would too.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
What's up, all you old pros, jaded Johns, and retired whores? This is Billy Procida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. This week, I've got on porn performer Kendra Sunderland, the library chick. You've heard about her, right? You should have. Super excited to release this one. This is one of my many AVN episodes that I recorded in Las Vegas. And I cannot wait to share Kendra with y'all in a bit. But first,
get them hot. Get them dates. Show dates.
Yes, March 28th, I'm going to be at the Bell House at 8 o'clock. I'm doing a one-liner competition. That should be fun. But I've got a huge, very exciting announcement regarding Tour de Man Whore. I'm not going to say me, you have activated your first city. This spring, I am officially going to come to San Francisco. Oh, yeah. What's up, Bay Area? Tour de Man Whore is going to come by you. You have sold your prerequisite 20 tickets, which means you're getting your very own Man Whore Podcast live show experience. Congratulations. Tour de Man Whore, of course, is something I'm doing between mid-May and the end of June, where when I sell 20 tickets in a city, guess what? I'm coming to that city. And who's next? Who's next to get their own show? I don't know. That's up to you people. Next in line is Chicago, which only needs 8 tickets to be activated. 8 tickets, Chicago. Come on, 8 tickets. You can do that. I believe in you. Following Chicago is Dallas and Detroit, followed by Miami, then Washington, D.C., and then we got a 3-way tie for 5th place between Memphis, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh. Who's going to be next? I don't know. I'm like low-key rooting for Minneapolis. I just kind of feel like I want to go there. I just need them to show me that you want it. What other cities are available for Tour de Man Whore? That's a great question. I also could potentially come to Portland, Minneapolis, Vancouver, Boston, Toronto, Los Angeles, Austin, Atlanta, London, Columbus, Ohio, or Bloomington, Indiana. To get your pre-sale discounted tickets, go to manwhorepod.com/tour. Other cities, you've got about 3 weeks left. Get on it, people. You want me in your city? Go get your tickets. A little update with Man Whore Con. Super early bird discounted weekend passes go on sale Friday, March 15th at noon Eastern Time. The super early bird weekend passes are just $55 for a fantastic weekend in New York City with yours truly and your fellow fan whores. So go ahead and put that on your little calendar. Put a little reminder in there. And I'll have a link and some more details for you next week. Of course, if you're on my mailing list, you don't even need to make sure you're listening next week because you're going to get an email. Now, on my mailing list, go to manwhorepod.com. Sign up today. So that's fun. You know, it's not fun. Cold sores. Ugh. I finally got over a cold sore a few days ago that, ravaged me. Really not even ravaged. It really just mind fucked me. Because what happened was it started off as not a cold sore. It started off as I had a cut on my lip and there was a little scab. And that was fine. But I was like paranoid it might be a cold sore. So I rescheduled a lot of sexy plans. And then that finally went away. I was like, great. Sexy plans are back on. And then the next day I woke up and cold sore. Then I had to reschedule again. People, I haven't been touched in weeks. I am starved for human connection because when I get a cold sore, I kind of just like lock myself away in my bedroom and just treat myself like a monster with carbs and Game of Thrones and just But I have a date tonight with the lady I've been smitten with. I guess we'll call her C for now. And I'm very excited for that. Something else that really excited me, and I'm kind of really excited to share with y'all. I went to one of my first rallies. I went to a sex worker rights rally here in New York City last week, run by Decriminalize NY, or Decrim NY. They were announcing legislation, real legislation, to begin decriminalizing sex work in New York. New York State, like the state of New York, like holy shit. Like there were real, not just, like we want this. I mean, there were politicians, elected officials at this rally. And I was like, wait, what? Aren't hookers like political suicide? Like, are you allowed to support this legislation? But apparently you can. And that's pretty fucking cool. It's the rally certainly got enough media attention that it was in, the media cycle for about 36 hours. And I just want to say, like, I thought it was awesome to see state senators Jessica Ramos and Julia Salazar, who represent districts in New York City, part of our New York State Senate. And I just want to, shout out to them for putting their names on paper that says prostitutes are people too. Because it was in the national conversation, The Root, which is, an online news outlet, they interviewed Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris about sex work decrim. And she, because again, just a little side note, we want decriminalization, not legalization, because we don't need more laws about sex work. We need less laws about it. And they asked her, like, hey, what do you think about this? And Kamala Harris, I know sex workers ain't happy with her, but let's give her just a pinch, a little modicum of credit. She says we should decriminalize sex work. And I was like, okay, we got a big name presidential candidate saying we got to stop arresting consensual sex workers. We had a real presidential candidate acknowledge the difference between consensual sex work and sex trafficking. And I thought that was fucking awesome. What was not awesome was that she, maybe still doesn't totally get it. Because, although she still defends her vote for, Sesta Fosta, which I really think, all presidential candidates should have to answer for. Even if they want to walk it back and say, hey, I didn't read that properly. I didn't realize it was so restricting on language on the internet, blah, blah, blah. I just think all the candidates should have to answer for that vote because all of the candidates voted for it. But anyways, she did say one thing that stood out to me that was like, oh, Jesus. She said, I was advocating 15 years ago that we have to stop arresting these prostitutes and start going after the Johns and the pimps because we were criminalizing women. Yeah, pimps, not great. But if you're arresting, if you criminalize the customers of sex work, guess what? You're still criminalizing sex work, stupid. If it's illegal, if it's illegal to be a client and the clients stop being clients or they don't want to, or they're too nervous to share, certain information that allows sex workers to screen their clients safely, etc. Guess what? Now they got no clients. Great. Now you're free to do sex work to whoever will actually run the risk of paying you. That's stupid. Decriminalizing sex work means decriminalizing the act of paying for sex and selling sex. Full stop. But it's cool that that's but I was pretty hyped to see that it is an issue that has been brought into the national conversation, and I hope journalists out there will continue to ask people about that. Before I get to this week's guest, Kendra Sunderland, I have got a little piece with Alice Vaughn, who is one of the co-hosts of the Two Girls, One Mic Porncast, of which I have been a guest. We recorded an awesome bonus episode for my Patreon, available tomorrow. But I also had to record a little something for you all people. We did a little bit of a debrief of AVN and how that went for us. We've all heard what my AVN experience was like, but Alice is new to the porn and adult entertainment world. So I was super curious, like, what her experience was like. This is me with Alice Vaughn.
Yeah, one of the girls of Two Girls, One Mic, the Porncast.
We just recorded an awesome bonus episode y'all are gonna get to hear. But let's talk a little bit about AVN. They can hear about quicksand porn on the bonus ep. But
of course,
a couple weeks ago I had on Eitan Levine and we debriefed our AVN experiences. What was your AVN like?
It was incredible, and overwhelming and amazing, honestly. I mean, the fact that I got to connect with so many people, see so many different things, touch so many butts, that's important.
I touched so few butts.
Oh, well.
For as many butts that were around, I touched like almost no butts. The only butts I touched were the ones that I was like messing around with.
Fair enough. I don't know. I tend to meet people who are like, hey, touch my butt. And even if it's a rubber one, a fake. That was fun. I had some weird Patreon content that I recorded there. That's all I'm going to leave it at.
Oh.
But I had a great time just getting to meet some of my previous guests in person. Being new to the entire industry of porn was kind of an eye-opener. I've been to Exotica before in New Jersey, but, being out at the AVNs and also going to the AVN Awards, that was just something else, like the Oscars of porn.
Yeah.
And then I, afterwards, went viral on a friggin' Motor Bunny, which was a thing that my dad saw me on, like, Live Leak and World Star Hip Hop.
Motor Bunny, everybody, promo code MANWHORE, get $50 off.
Yeah. Well, that was definitely something that got people out of the woodwork. Were texting me like, hey, I saw you on the front page of World Star Hip Hop, basically squealing on like a sex device, because that's totally normal. In a blazer, no less.
Saying sex device, totally normal.
I'm trying to keep this as professional, I guess, as I possibly can.
Okay, if that's the route you want to go. You host a porn podcast. I think you
Hey, I bring a level of professionalism that I lose very quickly.
That is your choice to make. Who is most shocking to meet in person that you had already interacted with, like maybe as a guest or something?
That I already interacted with.
Yeah, because you said you were meeting people in person, and I find that can be very different. Like meeting Tommy Pistol, I didn't realize how short he was.
Oh.
Like, he really is an actor in every, like, both in his acting, and the fact that he seems taller on screen. Like, he is an actor. But we interacted and talked a bit in DMs a bit, on Twitter over the last year. So who did you finally get to meet after talking to him? And then either, like, you learned that their personality was different, or they looked different, or, this Diet Coke is destroying you. It's not a great endorsement for Diet Coke.
No, never again. You failed me the last time, Coke. Not my sponsor, but can you please be?
Yeah. Who shocked you when you met them?
Who shocked me when I met them? I would say, God, out of my past guests. Well, I mean, prior to actually going there, I was in LA for a day and I hung out with one of my previous guests, Matt Lieb, and he was fucking tall. He was like 6'8". Or I'm stretching, maybe like 6'6", but still ridiculously tall. But then, I mean, in person, it was fantastic, like seeing Ella Darling.
Before we move on to this week's guest, Kendra Sunderland, can you tell us more about your offensive crayons that you sell?
Yeah, absolutely. So, offensive crayons are the brainchild of probably my fucked up childhood. So they are crayons with fucked up names on them. So everything you've ever wanted, including Boner Pill Blue, Statutory Grape, Miscarriage Maroon, we've got it all and more. I am an equal opportunity offender. We have a holiday version, and I am launching a new third pack.
Oh, what's one of the better colors from the new pack?
Well, I first have to tell you the theme. Mm-hmm. Can you guess the theme?
Is it time related or is it okay? It's porn related.
No.
I got nothing.
It is. So it is kind of America themed. So I'm naming it Red, White, and Fuck You.
Okay.
And it is very much. I am pitting reds, blues. If you're a libertarian, I've got some for you as well.
Well, what's one of the color titles that you got?
One that comes to mind. Baby Cage Crimson.
Baby Cage Crimson. Okay.
Government shut down.
Oh, that's such a dad joke.
You're welcome.
Well, where can people get these offensive crayons, and where can they hear your podcast? Where can they follow you?
Yeah, totally. So, offensivecrayons.com, that's where you get my little fucked up art project. If you want to find me for, I don't know why, but Rational Blonde on Twitter. And if you don't want to just find me on Twitter, listen to my show. We get really weird and interesting. I mean, we're the only podcast that gets like Tom Arnold on to talk about like the Nazi porn he's kind of wishing I was in. That was a thing. So 2 Girls, 1 Mic, the porncast. We have the white background, microphone, and pink bra. You can't miss us. So, or find us on 2girls1mic.com.
Fantastic. Why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everyone before I get to my guest this week?
All right. Bye, everyone.
Again, go follow Alice at Rational Blonde and check out her show, 2 Girls, 1 Mic. And if you want to get yourself some offensive crayons, you go to offensivecrayons.com. They're quite fun. I've got something important I want to share with y'all real quick. Next month marks 5 years of doing this podcast. 256 consecutive Wednesdays putting out a show for you. Now, a little over 2 years ago, I quit my day job fact-checking at celebrity magazines. Yes, that is a job, and yes, that is a job I held for several years. I quit doing that a couple years ago to do the Man Whore podcast full-time. That's literally a dream. It's a gift. And I was only able to take that leap of faith because of the support of my fan whore community on Patreon. I get to be a professional poor person making fun, sex positive content. Like, how cool is that? You know, like, however, making content isn't free, and it takes a ton of time and work and money and sometimes even tears. Someone asked me recently, what keeps me going when I'm feeling burnt out creatively? Honestly, the validation I get from my patrons reminds me every day that what I'm doing is awesome and what I'm doing has value. And creators, whether they be porn performers or slutty podcasters, deserve to be paid for that value. The deep personal connections and positive feedback I get from my listeners keeps me going when, when I'm tired, when I'm sad, when I'm lonely, sometimes when I'm horny, and when I wonder if people even dig what I'm doing. Right now, my Patreon page just about covers my rent. My super immediate goal is for it to cover all of the roof over my head expenses. Rent, utilities, health insurance, car payments. I otherwise live pretty cheaply. I don't need to make a fortune, but I do need to make a living. And I would love to reach that immediate goal over the next month or so. And sure, hey, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I do some side gigs to make ends meet. Lots of comedians do. A whore's got to eat after all. But the more I make directly from my fans on Patreon, the less I have to work on other stuff to put food in my mouth or pay for new equipment or to travel to Las Vegas for the AVNs, where I got this week's episode. The less time I spend on side hustles, the more time I have to make killer Man Whore podcast content. And I really want to. I really do. You ever wonder why I don't have a YouTube channel or haven't written a book? It's time. And time, sadly, costs money. And in an age where a lot of people take free content for granted, time can be hard to come by. I am incredibly grateful that things are going the way that they are. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm so excited to celebrate 5 years with you. 5 years with you whoreheads next month. And I really hope I can put you in the position to one day say, oh, I was a fan of Billy Procida before he was cool. So I want to say I have goosebumps right now. So I want to say thank you to those of you who have pledged, whether you've been a member for years or you popped in for that 1 month you felt you could afford a couple of dollars. Many of you will never understand what that financial validation means to me. I literally break into tears when I think about it. When it comes to Patreon, my goal is to get every listener to give me $1 one time. Hashtag $1 one time is actually not a bad hashtag, I think. Hey, look, if you've listened to more than a few episodes, see what all the hype is about, become a member, support the podcast you claim to love, even if just for 1 month. $1, one time. Become a member today and visit patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Again, that's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. You'll hear about my Patreon page and the perks of membership more this month, but I wanted to start by just telling you how your dollars affect my real life and what that means to me. And now for this week's guest, Kendra Sunderland. Oh boy. I actually talked to Kendra last year at the AVN Awards at the Adult Entertainment Expo in Las Vegas. That episode is available exclusively on Patreon. But we caught up again. I thought we would catch up actually later because last year she was announcing, her big thing was she announced that she was retiring from the adult entertainment industry and going to go back to school. So I thought, oh, that'd be fun. Like maybe in a couple years, I'll try to touch base with her and see what retirement's like. Well, lo and behold, this year she was back at AVN and plans have changed. So it was fun connecting with Kendra this time around, talking about her relationship to the industry and how she's dating these days. # moaning men are awesome. This is me with Kendra Sunderland.
Hold on, I have to take a picture of this cutie patootie.
So
before
cute.
you start.
So cute.
She's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Oh my, I love it. No, you look beautiful. 1, 2, 3.
Well, like, I don't know, like last time we were talking, you were talking about like retiring from scene work. And then I was prepared to kind of like show up and like sort of joke and be like, oh, well, like what happened to retirement? But I talked to actually,
Really.
but yesterday I talked to Naomi Banks and I think I'm learning like maybe when people retire from scene work, it doesn't mean they're retiring from like the industry.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't shot scenes like that in 6 years, but she's still doing her brand and doing other sexy stuff.
Yeah,
She's
definitely.
she's not getting pounded. Yeah, she's not getting pounded anymore. So like, I don't have to say it like that, but like, that's the fun of it. That's the fun of it, no?
Right.
Lainey's like, why you gotta be so dirty?
Yes.
Pounded anymore.
Yeah.
Well, the voice slightly off mic you hear is the wonderful Lainey Spicer, who just, I can't find anyone.
Bum rush the interview.
Yeah.
Only Lainey will I ever be like, no, you can say whatever you want
you're like,
behind me.
me.
But directly on the mic, I'm back with Kendra Sunderland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like I said, what are you up to now? Are you still doing scene work? Did you kind of go against this retirement plan or are you doing something different?
When I originally said I was going to retire, I, in my head, more so thought I would just not do scenes anymore. And then I got the offer to do a scene in Mykonos, Greece, and like be there for the week and just experience that. So I decided to take it. And then, I'll always be a Vixen Angel and do Vixen Angel things and be a part of the brand and everything and have my Snapchat and do all that stuff. But right now I'm kind of just focusing on getting a website up and traveling and I don't know, just doing whatever I want.
Do you want to be doing more like scene work?
Not really. No, I'm good. I've done everything I could possibly think I would want to do as far as scenes wise. I've done 22, so I'm pretty good with that.
Right. Well, because in last year we were talking more about like the types of passive income you would want to keep going, like the Snapchat. You were very much pushing on the Snapchat, Snapchat, like the all that stuff for events. And I don't know. I think it's interesting. Like a lot of places you retire from something, like you are now gone, like you don't go to the parties, and yet like I'm seeing now here like an AVN and everything, like oh, you can still be a part of it because like the fans still want to see you.
Right, definitely. I mean, you can always just do before I even started doing professional scenes, I was doing conventions and feature dancing for like, I don't know, like a year and a half or so, 2 years. And so, I mean, you don't have to be shooting scenes to be a part of it.
Yeah. Do you like the whole community aspect?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think that, it's just a lot of people like, we're all trying to do the same thing, and I don't, understand why there has to be so much fighting and everything. I get people not getting along, but a lot of girls, I think, just take it as like a competition type thing, or feel jealous of other girls and stuff like that. And it can get kind of crazy, but I think it's fun when we all like dress up and do fun things and go out and go to events. I think that's fun, and I love to do that.
It's like we can hate each other next week, but like right now, let's just have a good weekend.
I know, right?
It's kind of like when mom and dad was like, "Can't we have a nice dinner?"
Right? Just one. Can't we all just get along? But I'm a really like chill, passive person, so I don't.
As I've learned with the scent in the air,
the scent in my room.
It's a very chill
It's
scent.
my favorite smell. I love the smell.
It's so weird. I used to not smoke weed at all. In the last like 4 months, I've become a daily weed smoker, which is I'm trying to adjust my life to. But I used to not smoke weed, but I love the smell of it. It's like it's a pleasant aroma.
Oh, anytime I smell it, I'm like a dog trying to sniff it out, like a drug dog or something, trying to find it.
Do you find yourself like getting like dragged into some of that drama stuff, or do you do a good job of keeping out of it?
I mean, when I came into the industry, I was just myself. I was still trying to figure things out. I might have said stupid things on Twitter, like people might have taken me the wrong way, but I feel like I mostly never like tried to be malicious to other girls or say that I'm better than them because of the positions that I was like put in, and like the good things that I've been given and everything. I always felt like I tried to stay level-headed and be myself, and a lot of girls, I could understand where they would not like me because I came in so quickly, and like everything that Greg has done for me and the brand that I've built and everything is like not what usually girls have to go through. So I could understand them being envious, or saying why her, like why me, why do I get all those things, when they've been in it working hard for years. And I can't help it, so I try to be myself. And some girls, I won't say any names, don't like me, and
wish you would
I
say
can't
our
figure
name.
out why.
Helps with hits.
I've said it before. I've publicly went on Twitter. I've been on a few Twitter rants. I won't lie. Anyone who follows me on Twitter knows that we've been through some tough times together on the Twitter. But I mean, in the end, I feel like I never really did anything to try and hurt or upset other people.
Sure. How do you with Twitter stuff? Do you find it like impulse thumbs?
Yeah. I've been there before. I've been in situations where I've just overwhelmed with emotions, and, like some people I've given so much to that when I felt hurt, I wanted to try and hurt them any way possible and kind of defame them. Like I gave them fame, so I'm trying to take it away and let everyone on Twitter know like what's real, what's up. And, but now I kind of just like, I may or may not subtweet or something, or like post a picture or something that I think is funny that's related to things. But, now I kind of try and keep things to myself. Before I go crazy, I kind of look at it and I go, is this really going to help? Is this going to do anything? And then if it doesn't, then I just, try and keep it cool. But I can't say I've never gone crazy because everybody has seen it.
My listeners know that I have also done the same. Sometimes some of us pay for a little bit longer than others, but but if I may give an impulse tip with the thumbs, I honestly think the thumbs are the things that get me in most trouble. It's I like to write out whatever I want to fucking rage tweet, and I just text it to a friend. So it's like it feels like I tweeted it out. I got to tell somebody, I got to say it. And it didn't hurt anyone. It didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
I probably have probably 75% of my tweets I type out and delete, and they'd never get put out there. I
think sometimes just like you just want to get out of your head. It's just hitting the send button's the problem.
I know. I write it out and then I'm like, it's really doesn't sound as good as it did in my head, or I'm like, I really, don't need to put that out there. But I think a lot of things sometimes, and I write it down, and then I just don't do anything with it.
Sure.
I mean, my drafts on Twitter are probably funny.
Probably very full.
No, let's just see.
Yeah, let's see, what we got.
Let's just see what I typed out that never made it into the Twitter world.
I would love to see if you find anything where you don't even remember why, who you were mad at in that one.
Oh, man. I don't know. They must have deleted them But it's not very interesting. The drafts, they must have got deleted. I don't know how.
Is that a new phone?
Yeah.
What happens is, so the drafts get saved like locally on a phone. They're not on Twitter. They're on your phone.
Unlike the old phone, they used to be good.
If you still had the old phone, like the drafts will still be there, but they won't be on there.
Right. They
I'm
used
sure
to be
they were
good
fantastic.
random thoughts. And this one was not good. So
Have you ever like made amends with someone, like legitimate, not like okay fine, but like there was some hate there and we got through it and we good now?
I mean, no, I don't really hate anybody. I think the people,
use hate flippantly, but
that hate me, I don't even try to associate with. But like my best friend Carmen Caliente, we were friends like a little over a year ago, and then some bullshit happened and we never really had a problem between the two of us. It was always like my ex that she had a problem with. And then when we broke up, I started talking to her again, and now she's like my best friend. And we just realized that like, you know, there was never a problem between us. Like we were always good friends. It was always just the situation that I was in. And now we're like roommates and hang out all the time and everything. So I wouldn't say we necessarily hated each other. We were just both sad about the situation and, you know, just missed each other as friends. And then we're just meant to be together. Everyone was always like, are you guys sisters? Like to the point where we started just saying yes to people.
Sure.
Because they ask all the time. Anytime we're out anywhere, they ask.
Did y'all ever shoot together?
No, it's funny that people like want us to shoot together, and we've done photo shoots where like, you know, our one picture that we always take at every event is we touch tongues together. Like that's our pose. And it started off when we weren't super close and we would still like flirt with each other and stuff. And then like once we started becoming better friends, it was kind of like weird to be that way towards each other. And so
because it starts off as false intimacy and then starts feeling like real intimacy.
Yeah, and we're just good friends. And like I won't lie, it happens sometimes in drug related situations. She loves me so much. Like when she's on drugs, she loves me. Like it's to the point where I'm just gonna start like, you know, slipping things into her drinks or stuff so that she'll start to love. I joke about it. I would never.
I'm surprised Lainey's face didn't just pop up.
It did a few times, but I'm just gonna, you know.
It's like
I would never slip my friend drugs, but I joke about it because I'm like, she's just any other time she hates me, but when we're on drugs, she loves me.
All like that premium Snapchat stuff, all that like kind of indie fans only stuff. Like, do y'all collaborate on things like that, or is it odd for you because you're such close friends in real life to?
No, we don't really do Snapchat things together just because, you know, it's just weird for us. We're so close and stuff. But I'll like take pictures for her if she ever needs it, or she'll do it for me. And then, you know, it's just, we're just friends together all the time that we're not like those kinds of friends, you know?
All of those like OnlyFans and Snapchat stuff, like content that y'all sell is interesting because it seems like there's a lot of like, oh, like come into my Snapchat and things like when you're hanging out. Is that like cross promotion stuff, or is that just like being natural because, hey, why wouldn't I throw you in my Snap story because we are hanging out? Or is it like a planned thing? It's like, hey, we're going to do like a thing. We're going to meet up. We're going to shoot whatever.
A lot of girls plan it like that. Like these days, a lot of girls are shooting for their Snapchat and like shooting every day, doing posts all the time. And they make a lot of money. I mean, you make a lot with that. You just have to be really, really active and everything.
Are you as active as the people you're describing?
No.
Did you used to be?
At one point, maybe at my best point, like a few months ago, I started shooting for my Snapchat and stuff like that. I did work with a lot of people, but I mean, things happen and like these months get really busy for me around this time, like Christmas, then New Year's, AVN, and I always have to move around this time because this is when I moved down to California from Oregon. So I'm like trying to find a place as well. And I almost always have to move right after AVN. So it's pretty stressful, but I mean, I'm going to try and get back into my Snapchat and build a website and get more into it that way. I've just been lazy and I've had money saved up, so I haven't had to do anything.
I think everything's fine until you see that the savings account like dropping down below a certain number. You're like, oh yeah, I got to put my ass up on the internet again.
Oh yeah, when I started, got into a car accident, so I've had to pay to fix my car and everything.
Fuck, what happened?
I was just on Halloween. I was like leaving out of a driveway and this first row people stopped for me. In the second row I didn't see anyone, so I went for it, and the guy just came so fast. He was going and he hit me pretty hard. But thankfully, if I had been like a foot more forward, he would have hit me and my side of the door and everything, and I probably wouldn't be here with how fast he was going.
Or you'd
But
be
my
doing
car's
like wheelchair
fixable.
porn. I don't know.
Yeah,
You'd probably
no,
be
I would
transitioning a bit.
yeah, it's probably still in the hospital. So my car's almost done getting fixed, and it was good that I had money saved up and everything, but now it's time to like find a new home and hustle, and I'm just still doing dancing and everything, and so I have to just make the money and then I'll slowly disappear.
Yeah. But like with all that, especially with the Snapchat, it's such an intimate one, or the Instagrams and everything. It's like choosing what we're sharing and what we get to keep for ourselves. Like I also like I live my sex life on the internet. Like I make a living just being open and transparent. And it's sometimes I gotta think like, do I really want to share this, or like, do I want to own this? Do I want to have this moment for me?
Yeah, for me, it's hard to decide. Like, what do I put on my Snapchat? I'm like blowing smoke right into your mic, and it's probably gonna smell.
You know what? Just Nikki Delano's just gonna get really stoned in an hour or so. That's what's gonna happen.
Sorry about that. Sorry. Do you want it? I'm gonna assume
I would love if except I would be
I feel
useless.
bad. It's just even going into your face. Like,
It's fine.
Super bad.
It is enough that like I am enjoying it.
Good.
I just again
Okay.
like I did one podcast where like someone taught me how to smoke on mic, and then for 2 hours I couldn't speak, and they just fucked with me. The tech guy was playing with the reverb so that it would be like, we can all hear you, Billy.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, that's not cool, man. I'm
You're
freaking
you're
out.
too high for this.
Yeah, I was like way too high. Shout out to Keith Malley from Keith and the Girl. But yeah, that was so I don't smoke before I perform, whether it's stand up or podcasting. But afterwards, I'm like, yes, like after this one, after Nikki, I just get to like I can have some smokage. I'm really looking forward to the legal weed y'all that they got out here.
I smoke so much. I just smoke to feel normal at this point. It's just like an everyday routine. If I have some time, I'll smoke. Come up here, take a smoke break.
For sure.
I like all kinds of weed, so.
What? So yeah, back to the like to like.
Yeah, I forgot what I was saying before.
Well, we were talking about like living private lives publicly.
All right. Yeah, it's hard for me to decide like what goes on my Snapchat versus what goes on my website versus what do I put on Twitter, what do I put on Instagram. And you want to have like, levels to it. Like Instagram, I try and be really careful with what I post. Like if I buy all this lingerie and all these clothes, I spend all this money on it, I should be showing it off on Instagram instead of, where girls try and post like mostly nude photos, and you're going to get in trouble and stuff like that. It's like, why not do that? And then Twitter's kind of like more nude, and then it's like hard to decide how much of like me fucking someone else do I put on my Snapchat versus where do I like record for my website. And it's like I've kind of got it figured out. I just, like I said, I get busy and distracted and stressed with everything that's going on. But
do you at all feel
a
like
system to it?
Well, like outside of the like exposing yourself, like your body, like with say shoots, with the private life stuff, like what are some of the criteria that goes into deciding like, no, this is my moment I'm holding on to. Like I don't need to share this with them. They're not entitled to see that. Or do you like really not care much and just like, yeah, it goes up or it doesn't?
Yeah, if I'm like just by myself, I'll just put up videos, or like if I'm hooking up with someone not in the industry, most of the time I'll kind of keep that for myself. And like maybe sometimes before I've had them like take a picture of me afterwards, or like take a picture or something, but not like put them on there like that. Sure. But like if I'm working with another performer or whatever, obviously I'm going to promote that everywhere. But like me, like my name's my name, like I'm just myself. So I don't really like other girls. Like I don't have like an alternate like persona or name or anything where I turn that on when I'm here, and then when I go home I'm somebody else. Like I'm always just myself.
You kind of, I feel like you got robbed of the opportunity to have an alias because of like the way in which you're, your origin story.
I'm happy without it. Like I get confused sometimes. Like even Carmen, like I get confused between calling her like Carmen, and I get between like calling her real name, and sometimes it just depends. Like whatever I'm feeling is whatever comes out. But then sometimes it's like I have to watch myself when I'm around other people to not say her real name. And I've never had a problem with everyone knowing me by my real name. It's only ever like helped me in situations like where it's benefited me.
Sure.
So
how long you been smoking weed? Like when did you get started with that?
15.
Yeah.
There's not much to do in Salem, Oregon besides smoke weed.
Except
That's what we do.
You smoke some weed. Is U of Oregon Salem?
No, U of Oregon's like Eugene.
Eugene?
It's
'Cause
like,
that's where they came up with Nike,
you know,
right?
like an hour south. Yeah. And
Okay.
like Salem is like an hour south of Portland. And Corvallis, where Oregon State University, where I went to school, was like 30 minutes about south of Salem, kind of. So.
If you weren't in this industry, would you prefer to still live up there, or are you loving LA?
I really fucking hope I wouldn't still live up there because like I see people in my high school, and nothing against it. Like Oregon's a really beautiful place, but you know, I chose a very, very different lifestyle than anybody in my grade. Anybody that I grew up with, they chose completely different lifestyles, and like people can say that like they knew I was going to grow up into this, or like they kind of expected it or whatever they have to say about it is like, I'm happy that I chose this lifestyle instead of staying in college, getting a job out there, still living in like Oregon and all that stuff, which is cool. But like the fact that I can travel and like get paid to travel and like get free flights everywhere, free hotels, and get paid to party and everything. It's like, why wouldn't I choose that and then later on have a family and later on move back home and do that? But like at least live my life first.
Yeah.
And it's so different than everybody else. It's like, you know, nobody really understands it, but all these other people that are living it.
It's like life is awesome.
It's not too bad. I can't complain. I mean, it's exhausting for sure, but you know, I can't really complain. It could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we can go to a
I'm
high
not
school.
broke anymore, that's for sure. That's what's great.
I just like the fact that like either of us could go to a high school reunion if we decide we wanted to go to that, and we know we have the most interesting job of anyone who's there. And like I find that to be pretty cool. Like I don't know what your high school experience was. I was like a bullied kid. I didn't have friends. People thought I was not much. I'd be like, I come back, I'd be like, your life's lame, dude. Like what? You got married at 24. You had some kids. You sometimes like secretly have sex with an escort or go to a strip club. Like, oh, that's adorable. But that's your life.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't like very popular in high school, but I mean, I kind of was like out on my own. And then senior year, I got a good friend group and everything. But I just always had a boyfriend. Like, I just always wanted to be with someone. And then I'd always cheat on them. And because I just like, you know, would get tired of them. But then I also want that like love and affection and everything. So I don't know. I got like a bad rep, I guess, because my senior awards, I got biggest flirt and most likely to be on an episode of Jerry Springer.
Well, when you're cheating on most of the boyfriends, that's usually what you're
a little rude.
For.
Yeah, they all kind of ganged together and made sure everyone voted me for that. But I was just like, whatever. And I was kind of upset there was no like best boobs award. There was like best butt. And I was like, really? You can't do best boobs? Like, that's just weird. And like, obviously I would have won. So whatever. Obviously.
Yeah.
But
Did you experience like some Mean Girls stuff when for high school before you had like your core friend group senior year?
I mean, I never experienced anyone being mean to me, like, personally, but I'm sure people have, like, their things that they say and everything. I was always just getting into trouble. Like, I was always grounded.
What the fuck were you doing?
Sneaking out, and, like, I wasn't, like, allowed to go hang out with friends and just go do whatever I wanted. Like, I didn't have a cell phone. I wasn't allowed to just go and, like, do whatever and tell my parents I'll be home later. Like, I had to, you know, be back home and stuff like that. And I just always wanted to be with my boyfriends. And then when I lost my virginity, I got in trouble because like my mom didn't want me to be out like having sex at, you know, a young age, even though it was like nothing, like silly, I wouldn't even consider it sex and all that stuff. But I mean, I just experienced things, and like my parents were divorced and everything. It's just like, I don't know. I was a middle child, so I kind of got a weird section of it. I don't know. And I just like to smoke, and my parents didn't like that. And I mean, they've accepted it at this point because 3 out of 5 of us smoke. I'm pretty sure my dad smokes at this point.
Have you smoked with your mom?
Not really. But my mom,
not really?
because, well, one time she did take us to the dispensary. Like, she's became more cool about it. And, like, she did take me to the dispensary, but she sat in the back. She's like, it's not my thing. And then, like, you know, I was at my sister's and they were getting drunk and stuff. And then my sister was smoking with me, like, a lot more than usual. I was like, that's cool. And then they've accepted it. But then one time when I was home, me and my mom and her friends, we all took their party bus, their like ghetto party bus up to Portland, and they all got super drunk. And my mom was like, I know she was so drunk because she wanted to hit my vape pen. And then she was like, get your sister to do it. And I was like, what? I was like, she doesn't want to do it. She's like, I'll get her to do it.
I'm her
She
mom.
like,
I can tell her what to do.
And she like took it over and she was like forcing her. And I'm like laughing this whole time looking at my brothers and we're high as fuck. And we're just like, oh my God, is this really happening? And like, it was just a funny ass night. And like, ever since then, they just became more like accepting, you know, so they have to get over it.
I was the last one in my family to smoke weed. And so when my baby sister, who's like a year or two older than you, she freaked out when she found, like, I came home for her Christmas. She's like, wait, Billy, you smoke weed now? Can I please? My Christmas present is, can you smoke weed with me?
Yeah.
Like, she was so hyped too. So like slowly but surely I've like been smoking with family members.
Right.
Like, I finally smoked with my mom like last year for the first time. And it was like, this is silly.
Right. You're good.
My dad don't know I want to cross that boundary yet.
No, I'm fine. I got it.
Yeah.
I'll finish it. At this point. Yeah, me and my brothers always smoke. We like take dabs together and stuff. I mean, it is what it is. Some people, I mean, part of my family likes to drink. We like to smoke. That's just what we do to get through the family activities and everything.
Oh gosh. You were mentioning like you always had a boyfriend like in high school. Like, is that serial dating something you still find yourself in?
I mean, I've been single for a year now, and
Congrats on the sobriety.
oh, thank you. It's great. I'm just kidding. It's awesome to be able to do like, you know, whatever you want, but I am someone that like likes to like, I like affection, and like I see other couples and stuff like that, and like I do want that and everything, but you know, I just have to realize what people are like, you know, fuck boys. What guys are like just fuck boys, and right now I'm just doing my own thing. I'm just over it. Like, I've cut all the fuckboys off because they're just stupid. And that's just reality. And, like, that's just what it is. So, whatever.
How do you date as Kendra Sunderland? Or were the most recent, like, serious boyfriends in the industry as well? Or were they, like, civilians?
No. I mean, I wouldn't say I was, like, dating anyone. But, like, I've talked to people and, like,
is Kendra on Tinder?
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm on Tinder. But the thing is, like, I'll get into this mood and I'll, like, match with a bunch of people and I'll, like, go through. And then, like, to actually, like, meet with any of them, it's like, I don't want someone to come over and waste my time and be weird and just, like, turn me off from it. So I don't have the time to, like, talk to all these guys and, like, see, you know, what they're about. I'm not really searching for that right now. Like, right now, I'd rather just spend my time where it can make me money instead of trying to find someone. And it'll happen when it happens. But as of right now, I'm just enjoying being single. It's, like, the longest time in my life since, like, 5th grade that I've not had a boyfriend. So
that sounds pretty healthy.
I mean, well, you know, like, middle school, high school relationships aren't really, like, the same as now.
Right, but the wanting for the thing, like the behavioral pattern, it may, like, the relationships may look different, but the pattern is similar.
I think I get it from my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, always has girlfriends.
Always has girlfriends.
Plural, yes.
Was he if you're okay saying, was he like a philanderer type?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, was he like before the divorce? Was he a cheater? Like my dad, like that's
sure.
what broke that thing off, and
right.
You know, he's probably got his own issues with, like, you know, women that needs to be dissected. But
yeah, I mean, I just assume, like, I've always seen my dad with different girlfriends, so I just assume that that's where I get it from, and that, you know, now I'm kind of just doing my own thing and being more independent, kind of more like my mom, sort of, and so it just, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Right now I'm good. It's gonna take someone, like, pretty fucking special to really want me to date again and give something like that again.
So when you're using Tinder, it's like more for like casual encounters?
Mm-hmm.
And
even then, there's so many requirements that it's like, really, like, don't waste my time.
You have a lot of requirements.
Yeah, like, I like a lot of specific things, and, like, the way that I want it is, like, not really what of some average person if they just come over thinking, like, and I've had that experience where I did try and hook up with someone from Tinder, and it was terrible, like, literally miserable, and just a bad experience.
That sounds like standard Tinder. That sounds like a standard experience.
Well, talk a lot of gay, but then it's like nothing.
Oh
It was
God,
nothing.
can't. Well, so what's on this checklist? What's on this laundry list of requirements to like maybe see Kendra naked
Knew
in
that was
person for
coming.
free?
I
You
just,
can't say I've got so many requirements, and
I
then
know, I
you know
knew
that's
it
the
was
next
coming,
question,
right? I mean, I just like dirty talk. I like someone who's just very like dominant and like assertive. Like I've had a lot of guys that I've hung out with, and it's like if they would have made a move, yeah, I probably would have slept with them, but they just don't. And it's like being a nice guy, like, you know, but then also there's a time when I want you to be like assertive and make a move. And I like it rough, I guess. I like being slapped around. I like dirty talk and kinky things and just like being talked to. But then I also like being cuddled and like kissed and like being sweet. I like a mixture of both. And it's hard to like really find someone that's down to do all of that and dirty talk and like just know what to do.
Sounds like you need
And,
people
like-
who like specific, not just like claim they're kinky, but that operate in the kink world. Because
Right,
that
I've
world is all
thought
about the.
that. For
That
sure.
sounds like it, because you'll get the dominant guy, but that world also knows about things like aftercare and all that shit. So it's
Right.
like that sounds more your idea. You should be on like FetLife.
I know. I've tweeted about it recently too. I was like, who has like just like a playroom that's like basically like a dungeon, like 50 Shades type thing that just wants to like tie me up and play for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't really find any winners in that like response.
Well, what
But
sounds
I've thought about it and I've watched like videos of that and stuff and like found specific porn stars that like I've seen do things that I would enjoy, but I haven't like gone that far as to reach out.
But I don't necessarily mean like grab like guys like in the who operate in the kink world who are like gonna actually like we have to do kink like, but just like their mindset about like sex and taking care of like to,
Right.
like they're gonna choke you, they're gonna slap you, they're gonna fuck the shit out of you, they're gonna call you a lot of mean names, and then afterwards like they're gonna take care of you, they're gonna get you a water, they're gonna cuddle you up and remind you like, oh no, I care about you and you're a good person and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah, that
Who
sounds.
wouldn't want that?
I mean, I would love that.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So one day, and it has to be attractive and fit and tall.
Yeah, now we got the physical requirements, which I'm
And-
sure you have a whole different laundry list for.
Yeah, like, you know, specifically just, you know, it has a job, a car, a place, you know, lots of things. It's very hard to find all of those for now.
You mentioned earlier wanting you said you found like kinky porn stars that you're digging. So who were you digging?
I mean, I don't really remember the names, but there was like just this one specific video, the way that he was like doing everything and kissing her and everything.
Oh, was
I
the
was
guy?
just like, yeah. And a lot of times, like, I'll watch videos, like, I don't watch it to see like the girls, like, I'll watch it for the guys. And I wish that there was more porn where you could just hear the guys, like, and their sounds that they make and their grunting and like what they say. Like, that's what I get off to.
Right.
And I'll just like tone out the girl or whatever and just listen
like,
to the guy.
Can we get that high pitch out of here?
Right? It's like, why can't we just like make more for girls like that where you just listen to the guy, you know?
Last night, and this has come up a bit, like, so like I'm a moaner. Like I just am naturally like I am like loudish in that way, and like women specifically will point that out. They'll be like, "That was really hot," because like I could hear it.
Right.
And like
everyone loves it.
Yeah, so like last night I like hooked up with somebody and I have like a little kick group like with some like fans of the show, and we just like share nudes and funny gifs, and like so I shared a video of like her going down on me, and the comments were not like, "Oh, nice dick," "Oh, it's like, oh, hot seeing a blowjob." The comments from the women in this group were all, "Oh, that's so hot, the moaning, the sounds." One guy said like, "Shit, I think I should start moaning just to turn the
Right.
women on." He's like,
Mhm.
it's
It
amazing.
works.
Yeah, but the guys, like, typically we're not saying like, "Oh my God, it was so hot," how she was like moaning and yelling and shrieking. It's all like, "Oh, her tits were this, that she felt this
Right,
way."
because everyone's used to that, the girl being like the one that moans and does all that, but I think we should turn it around.
Yeah. I used to be
At
self-conscious
least
on it.
50-50. Hell no, I love that. Like, and you know, it's just like a lot of times that's just what a girl wants to hear. Like, you don't want someone that's just quiet.
Yeah. It's like,
whack.
is this like you like take dick out of your mouth? Just like, is this good or not? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, am I draining
she's
a
saying
cyst that's
stuff
your
to
dick, or
me,
is this
yeah.
like a pleasurable experience?
Yeah. And I always like laugh and giggle all the time and stuff. So it's like, if you can't just like enjoy that.
I have a partner who laughs when she comes.
Right.
And
exactly.
yeah, but like in a way like where you're almost like, wait, what's going on? Like it's almost like this.
Been there.
babe, like you're fine. But it's like a fun, like the first time it was like a shock is like she's cracking up and then I'm like, what did I do something that's weird? Like, do I look funny?
Yeah, sometimes you just laugh.
Yeah.
In there where they're like, what are you laughing at? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just laughing, giggling.
I like giggling I like giggle sex where it's just like because I like realizing how ridiculous whatever it is we're doing, whether it's like the sex act we're doing or the context in which we're doing. It's like, oh, like we just met at this weird space or like whatever it is. It's like, oh, isn't this silly that we get naked and put things in our mouth? Like that's kind of laughable.
Yeah, I mean, just sometimes people just laugh through the pain.
Sure.
I don't know.
Do you let, if you're in pain when you're fucking people like on the like recreationally, are you the type where you'll laugh through it, or do you put kibosh on that?
Most of the time it's just whatever, just get through it. But I mean, there's only been like 2 times I think where I was shooting where I was uncomfortable and I've just gotten through it because I don't want to call the scene. I don't want them to have to do all that, but it's just like uncomfortable for me. And like I've been tested and everything and it was nothing like that. It's just like myself and my body just,
Is it the environment in which like maybe the director or crew set, or is it
no,
I mean thing,
like
or?
I'm always so comfortable on set with everybody. Like Greg's whole team is like my family. Like I'm so comfortable with them. So it's just been like just problems with myself, like working myself too hard the past couple days or like doing stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. It just happens before, but I'm kind of like, I'm not going to call the scene. I'm the type to like, but just get through it.
Sure.
Before
we get going, I'd be remiss to not ask. So, like, last year when some of my listeners heard you, it was about like we talked a bit about like how you wanted to like work with like animals and go back to school, and then we off mic you mentioned like, oh, I'm putting on a back burner. What's that about?
I mean, I'm not ready for the kind of discipline and like getting up early and having to do schoolwork and remember all these things and do tests. Like, I'm not ready for that yet. And like I've toured the school that I wanted to go to, and like my friend that's in it, I've talked to her about the program, and I'm just not there yet. Like, you can't have colored hair. Like, it's so strict that like I want to live my life a little bit longer and travel and experience all the benefits that come from this lifestyle before I do that and settle down.
There's a huge I don't want to say maturity and immaturity, because I don't think like the not being ready for school is like immaturity. It's like, you say it's like, I don't have that discipline yet, but that's a mature, disciplined decision, and knowing you don't have that discipline yet.
Right.
It's like actually a very impressive decision.
Right.
I think it's almost more impressive than having the wherewithal to stop doing like, porn or scene work or whatever to go to school, to know that I can't go to school right now yet.
Right. It's just nice to have the freedom to be able to do that. And that's just what comes with being in this industry and like working for myself. Is that I have the freedom to do whatever I want. Basically, I'll make money off websites. I'll make money off Snapchat, off everything else. Like, I don't have to be forced to do anything. So if I want to just chill and travel and, build my website and do that for a few more years, then I can do that.
But you still plan on going at some point?
At some point, yeah. Hopefully Red Pandas are still around and I'll get to work with those cute little cuties.
Well, everybody, keep your fingers crossed for the Red Pandas for Kendra.
Yes.
That would be nice.
Yes.
And Kendra, thanks for chatting with me again.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And where can people find you? I know you're going to plug the Snapchat, so let's start with that.
Well,
that's the important one.
Right now, I'm still working on that and my website and getting everything together, but I always will keep people updated on my Instagram, which is The Real Kendra Sunderland, and Twitter, KS Library Girl. And they're both verified, so there's no reason to ever get catfished. Ever.
Fantastic.
Ever. Thank you.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
Bye, everybody.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Kendra Sunderland. I know I did. Again, follow her at KS Library Girl. Go take a look at her naked. Also go check out Alice Vaughn at Rational Blonde, the co-host of Two Girls, One Mic. Of course, for me, you can just go to manwhorepod.com for all your Man Whore podcast needs. You can shoot me an email at manwhorepod@gmail.com. I love getting your comments, your questions, your complaints, your booby pictures, whatever's clever. Shoot it on over. See what all the hype is about. Become a member of my fan whore community on Patreon. Join us in the champagne room. Share your nudes in the peep show. Send us your best memes. Join up at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Last but certainly not least, you want to bring Tour de Manwhore to a city near you? Go get your pre-sale discounted tickets today at manwhorepod.com/tour. When we hit 20 tickets in your city, I'm coming to your city. You've got just a few weeks left, everybody. You got till the end of the month. Make it happen. And congrats again, San Francisco. I can't wait to be doing some slutty stuff inside of you. And also, I guess, doing a show. One more time, that link is manwhorepod.com/tour. Next week, we go back to the origins of this podcast. We're going to have on one of my past partners. Going to get into some of the sex party drama in the New York play scene. Woo, boy. Oh, and did I tell y'all? She's friends with my XP. Try and take a guess how that one goes down. But until next week, everybody, stay slutty.